reservations. 10 years ago, I'd say, women are doing fine, let them rise by virtue of talent. But I've been in the workforce for 25 years now. And I have noticed that when there is no pressure to hire, if it's just a qualitative target or a nice to have, women just don't get hired. Because when the hiring manager particularly is male, and when you have a variety of candidates to hire, you will always look for people to hire who are like yourself. So it's very difficult for men to then be able to go out and hire someone who is not like them. And there's a very classic case study that I read, which is a very popular case study in Harvard Business School, that they took the same person, the same resume, with the same accomplishments, same background, and named them, had two separate user groups. One group, they gave the same resume and they called him Howard. To another group, they gave the same resume and the same characteristics and called her Heidi. The group which was given Heidi said, we don't want to hire this woman because she's too aggressive. The group which was given Howard said, oh, he's a great leader, let's hire him. So there is such an inherent bias in our system that the moment you realize the gender of the person, you've already taken 2 steps back. So it has taken, since the Industrial Revolution and since women started working, it's taken over 100 years to have like 3% board representation. Are we going to wait for another 300 years to get to 50-50, or are we going to have a quota system? And the reason I say this is, for example, in 2018, there was a company law board directive which said that you need to have one independent woman director on the board. Suddenly, overnight, all the senior women and all the qualified and talented women in the country started getting calls to become members of publicly listed boards. Were we not there the day before the resolution was passed? But we were just not being noticed because there was no need to go out and hire women. And what has changed? Women are on boards, these companies are only doing better. No company has regressed because they had more women on boards. A company which has, like people say, if Enron had at least one woman on their board, they won't have gone bankrupt. So there is huge amount of data to prove that women will add value, get diversity of thought. More women on boards leads to less fraud. More women on board leads to more calculated risk and less incidences of the company going bankrupt. I could go on and talk for like a couple of hours on the value of having reservation for women and what it does. We need to expedite the progress women are making. Talented women have always been around, but they only get noticed, they only bubble up to the top when you say that there is a quota. So that's my take on it. I think it's important for everyone, for men and women, but particularly for women. Women don't get the opportunity, or they're not genetically inclined to network outside of work or at work and build relationships in terms of progressing their career. Women, whenever they speak up, it's always in order to prove that somebody in their team is doing a good job. Women have a problem advocating for themselves. We are A, genetically inclined that way, and B, as a society, we are very patriarchal. So women can never speak up for everything that they've done, and if they do, the society or the company will view them as, she talks a lot about what she's done. I think it's important to find people around you who can advocate for you, who can talk about what you've done. And I have over the years realized that just getting a mentor is not enough. You need a sponsor. A sponsor is someone who will have a voice at the table, a skin in the game, and will be invested in making your career successful. But in order to do that, obviously you need to be great at your job. And I keep saying this, I don't like it, but women do have to work twice as hard to get noticed, because there are just so many men in the system and so few women. So be great at what you do and try and get a formal or an informal sponsor who can advocate for the good work that you do, so that when the time is right, you will not get passed over.
It's kind of unfair though, isn't it?
It is true, but how do you break the cycle? You have to break it by ensuring there are enough people in the system who will advocate for your cause, and it's not just left to yourself, because women will not speak up and blow their own horn, because like I said, we're not wired that way. I think it was great. Wonderful to see a room full of 100, 150 women. I think there are barely like 25-30% women in technology. There are perhaps less than 10% in AI and analytics. So to see so many women participating, very passionately, asking a lot of questions, all I can say is, the future looks bright and the future is female.